Hey, are you losing your mobility? Struggle to touch your toes? Walk around feeling more like Frankenstein? Today you're going to learn our 3 most important stretches for movement. There are a lot of stretches that you can do, but if you just focused on these 3, they're going to give you some of your biggest gains for flexibility. These are stretches we focus on when teaching people things like parkour or training Ninja Warrior, because they are essential to mastering most of the movements. Now, if you really want to take your fitness to the next level, grab our Primal Fitness course in the description below. Inside, you'll gain functional strength and flexibility using a handful of unique primal moves that you can do in your living room. It's how guys like Cal got his first handstand at the age of 61, and thousands of others are unlocking push-ups, pull-ups, and transforming their bodies. And again, you can access this by clicking the link down in the description at any point during this video. All right, let's jump into these stretches. All right, the first stretch we're going to do is the pike stretch, or what some people call the forward fold. Now, you've probably done this before, but I want to make sure you get the right technique. A lot of people who don't get good gains in this stretch is because usually there's a problem with their technique, and as we go through it, you'll notice the difference right away. Now, this stretch is very important for simple things like tucking your toes, picking up objects, but also for getting into other things like handstand presses, L-sits, many different acrobatic movements and vaults. So the first thing we're going to do is build the base, and that starts with the feet. So with the feet, the legs, you want to make sure they're not too far apart. We're going to put them either shoulder width or a little bit narrower. So I'm going about 2 fists apart. With the toes, we want them to be straight. We don't want them facing out. We don't want them pointed in. We want the feet facing forward. Now, this is very important. We want the balance to be good too. So we're going to use what's called the tripod foot, where we want to feel the balance in 3 points of the feet. And it makes a triangle. So from the bottom of the big toe to the base of the pinky toe, and then the heel of the foot, those 3 points. And you should be able to feel that. If you lean back, you feel the weight shift in the heels. You lean forward, you feel it shift forward and side to side. You want it to be centered between all of those, and we're going to maintain this balance throughout the whole stretch. Once we have our base, now we're going to move up. So with the knees, we don't want them locked out. We want a nice, just relaxed position. Slight bend is okay. The hips, we're not going to posterior tilt or anteriorly tilt. We're going to keep them neutral. And as we work our way up, the shoulders are going to go back and down. Head is going to reach tall. Chin is straight. If you need to, tuck it in slightly so that you maintain a good spine position. Now we're going to go into the stretch. And the way we're going to do that is initiate by the hips. So start by pushing the hips back and bending forward. Keep the knees relaxed. You don't want to lock them out. And reach back with the hips as you shift forward. While we're doing this, maintain that balance in the feet, that tripod position. With our hands, you're going to put them on your legs so you can use that for balance and support. Now, as we go down, make sure to brace the core so that your back can stay in a good position. All right, and then we're going to go down as far as we can. You should start to feel the stretch now. And if you can, you could even try to reach your toes, but I don't want you to bend like this to reach it. Keep this back straight, head reaching tall, and bend at the hips, not with the back. And see how far you can go. Slight bend in the knees is okay. And then come back up. And when we come back up, we're knocking around. We're going to keep that good position in the back. Use the hips and the glutes to pull yourself up back into that straight position. All right, this next stretch, we're going to work with the shoulder angle. So think about pull-ups, handstands, climbing, and more advanced upper body movements. You need this flexibility here to do it properly. So before we even move to a wall or anything like that, I want you to get your form down and see where your strength takes you in this stretch first. This will really give you an idea of where you're currently at. So with this one, I want you to start by taking the shoulders, just like with everything else, but instead of the base with the feet, now we're starting the base with the upper body. So we're going to take the shoulders back down, relax, reach tall with the head. Make sure that you don't arch the back like this or curve forward. We're going to stay neutral here. Now that we have our base, we're going to raise our arms up and keep this base the same. Now with the hands, I want you to think about reaching up like you're going to do a pull-up. So as you reach up here, the palms are going to face away from you. And we want to hold this position because we're building this flexibility for those positions, right? So the pull-up muscle up, things like this, where our hands and arm are going to be in this position. So as we lift up, you want to make sure that your shoulders don't excessively push up towards your ears, but don't hold them back and down too tight. Don't keep them too restricted. Keep them pretty relaxed in this position here. And as we raise up, a big mistake a lot of people make is they start to compensate for their flexibility by opening up their chest, flaring their ribs up like this, arching their back. We don't want to do that. So what helps with this is bracing the core. So we brace the core, keep that nice and tight, keep our head straight here, and then relax the shoulders, but don't excessively push them up. Relax the shoulders and pull back and up as high as we can comfortably, allowing them to rotate naturally in their sockets to reach this position, and then come back down. So that'll give you a good gauge of where your shoulders are currently at. Then once you have that, then we can move it to the wall. So using a wall like this, but maintain those same points that we talked about. We can use this or by laying down, and this one's a pretty good one because it ensures if you keep your back flat on the ground like this, it ensures that you can really feel it when you're, flaring up like this. So if you keep the back down, allow those arms to relax and pull back, you can feel that stretch pretty good there. The next stretch is the lunge stretch, and this will help with simple things like climbing upstairs more efficiently, improving your squat, but also into other things like high jumps, wall runs, and more advanced leaps and bounds. All right, to start this stretch, we're going to be on our knees on the mat. You're gonna take one leg, place it in front. Just like with the pike stretch, we wanna really focus on the space before we get started. So with the front leg, we're going to have our toes facing forward. Don't want them twisted in or twisted out. We're going to think about that tripod foot placement, balanced here at a 90-degree angle. With the back leg, we're going to keep it stacked under the hips. So the knee underneath the hips. We're going to place the foot in a plantar flexion position. And then with the hips, we want them to be squared. So you don't want to turn them out like this. We're going to have our hips squared to our foot position. Then with the upper back, it's just as important. We're not going to be hunched over like this. We want good posture. Again, shoulders down and back, and then relax. Head reaching tall. Hips, we're not going to anterior tilt like this. We're not going to posterior tilt, neutral position. And then from here, we're going to go into the stretch. And what I want you to think about is we really want to focus on this front leg. So shifting the weight as far forward into this front leg as we can. Now the reason why we're doing that is because we really want to build this ankle flexibility here, because this is going to be very important for improving our squats, pistol squats. This flexibility is one of the most important, and for high jumps and things like this. So take your knee and press it over the toes. Now with that tripod foot position, we don't want the heel to lift up. Plant that heel down. See if you can try and, even with the weight shifting forward, but try to keep that heel rooted into the ground. And then again with the hips, the back, we're gonna straighten the back, shoulders back, and feel that stretch here. As we go down a little bit further and further, and then we come back up. And once you can do this on the knee position, we can then raise it up like so, go up higher, add a little more strength in here, get a little bit deeper stretch. Same principles, but now we're elevated, doing the same thing, pushing as far as we can with this front leg over and then back. Now this stretch will completely change your squats and your lower body flexibility. It's probably the most important one to get down for a lot of the functional movements you'll be doing. Now here's some tips to get the most out of these stretches. First, always warm up before stretching. 2, make sure to only perform your long static stretches after your workouts and not before. Long stretches before your workout can negatively affect your performance. Number 3, make sure to hold your static stretches for at least 30 seconds to 1 minute. Number 4, do multiple sets and reps for each stretch. Number 5, do these stretches daily. Now, if you like these stretches and you also want to increase your strength, maybe burn some extra fat, then check out the full Primal Fitness program we have below in the description. Inside here, you're gonna use a handful of unique Primal moves and beginner calisthenics to unlock that athletic, pain-free body. In this course, it's not about how much you can lift, but how well you can move. And you can do this all in your living room, and each session is less than 30 minutes. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Keep moving, and I'll see you in the next one.